There's a bit of a buzz about Nissan in Australia right now. After a long period of selling pretty much the same old product, the floodgates have opened and Nissan is going to be launching 4 new models in Australia over the next 6 months. We're going to have a new Qashqai, a new X-Trail and a new Pathfinder, and we're going to have videos on all of those models on our YouTube channel, so go and check those out. But the product that I am most excited about is this one. It's the new Nissan Z, and of all the new products Nissan is launching, this is the first cab off the rank. Now, we do know a few details about this new sports car already, like the fact that it's moved to a new, more powerful 3-litre twin-turbo V6. But in this video, we're going to share some new information as well, like how much this sports car is going to cost, because that is a big one, and also some information on the Aussie spec as well. We're going to take a look around the exterior and point out some of the really cool retro design touches, because Nissan's design team has done a pretty good job, I reckon. And then we're going to jump inside, because of all the places in the new Z, I think the cabin is what delivers the biggest leap compared to the previous car. Before all that though, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell notification so you know every time we upload a new video. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Before we get to the pricing and the exterior design, I want to know your opinion of the new Z, because it can be a bit of a divisive car, this one. For a lot of people, they love the fact that Nissan is continuing to forge its own path rather than going into a joint venture like Toyota has with the 86 and the Supra. But for others, they don't feel that Nissan has done enough, because a lot of the underpinnings of this car are carryover from the old 370Z. So let me know your opinion. Do you think Nissan has done a great thing by continuing to forge its path and continuing an iconic nameplate? Or is this car more a case of an old recipe just warmed through? Let me know. Okay, let's talk about price, because that is a key factor with the Z. It's always been on the affordable side when it comes to rear drive sports cars, and that mostly continues with this new model. Let's just cut straight to it. It now costs $73,000, but the car we have here is a limited edition proto spec, which is only going to be available in limited numbers at launch, but it is an 80 grand car before on roads. Now that might seem like a big jump, considering the old car started at 50 grand and the Nismo version of the old car started around 60 grand. So it is a big leap up, but Nissan rightfully points out that this new version does have more expensive components, like that new 3-litre twin-turbo V6 and the cabin, which now has active safety systems and bigger infotainment screens. Those costs do need to be passed on to the consumer. So it's more expensive than before, but put it in context with its rivals and it does stack up fairly well. A Supra, for example, starts about 87, 97 grand, depending which spec you go for. And then there are more expensive rivals like a BMW M240i, about 90 grand, even things like a Porsche Cayman 718, which is pretty similar in philosophy. So put it against those rivals, does stack up well, but then against other cars like a V8 powered Mustang, they're cheaper than a Nissan Z now. So yeah, I think they've done a pretty good job with the price, but ultimately, you're going to make the decision on that one. Right, let's talk exterior design. As I mentioned before, a lot of the old cars' underpinnings carry over, which means the overall proportions of the new Z are pretty familiar, but to my eye, that is no bad thing, because we have traditional sports car layout here. We've got a very long bonnet and a short rear deck, which I think works really, really well. We do have a lot of retro design touches to point out. The first one is this bonnet bulge, which pays homage to the very first Z car way back in the 1970s. Now, lurking underneath that bonnet bulge is a brand new engine, 3-litre twin-turbo V6 petrol, and power and torque have gone up substantially. So we have almost 300 kilowatts now, almost 500 Newton meters, and you can pair it with either a 6-speed manual, yes, or a 9-speed automatic. Now, both transmissions do have launch control as standard, and Nissan isn't releasing official 0 to 100 figures yet, but it's saying a 15% improvement. So this car should do a high 4, maybe, to 100 kilometers an hour, which means it is a pretty quick thing. Can't wait to try it out for ourselves in about a month. Now, another design touch to point out, the headlight. We've got these twin semicircular design, which I absolutely love. Again, that pays homage right back to one of the early Nissan Zs, the 240ZG, which was a Japan-only spec. I think that looks really, really cool. One thing I'm not so certain on is the big square front intake here. Again, it's consistent with previous Z cars, but to my eye at least, there's something about it that doesn't quite work as well as the other touches, but let me know what you guys think. Coming around the side, the first thing you notice are these 19-inch gold wheels. Now that's part of the limited edition proto spec that I mentioned at the beginning. And that also includes this eye-searing yellow paint and the black roof combo, which is the only exterior color scheme for that limited edition model. Now it's important to point out that Australia is taking the higher spec of the two variants available overseas. So overseas in America, for example, this car comes in two flavors, Sport and Performance. The Australian car is based on the Performance spec with a few little tweaks, like we get a smaller screen inside, but we'll get to that soon. But the good news is that pretty much everything else that you can have on this car, Aussie versions are going to get. And that means also bigger brakes. So we've got 2 piston brakes here at the front, single piston at the back. And the chassis changes are fairly substantial. So this car cops a bit of criticism for being the same recipe warmed through, but there's an improvement in body rigidity, there's wider, stickier rubber at the front, the suspension geometry, there's new dampers, everything has been overhauled to make this car a sharper and more enjoyable thing to drive, and I cannot wait to get behind the wheel very soon. Design-wise, I think the side profile is probably my favorite angle of this car. It also has another little retro design touch, which is this Fairlady Z badge here on the C-pillar. Around the back, the first thing you notice is this new rear LED taillight design, which just screams 300 ZX. And you also get twin exhaust outlets. Now, I have a few little fears about the exhaust itself because I think the system has had to be tweaked to meet new ADR rules. And that means it could be a little quieter than the old car. So before we jump inside to explore the cabin, let's turn it on, give it a rev, see what we think. It's inside where the new Z really feels like a generational leap compared with the old car. The old Z was starting to feel a little bit dated, a little bit analog inside, but this new car feels very modern, very tech forward. The cabin is dominated by 2 big central screens. So we have a large one here in the middle of the center stack. And in front of us, instead of analog dials, we now have a 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster. It's very good. The graphics are very easy to navigate and they're clear, which is fantastic. It's not information overload, which can be the case sometimes with systems like that. On top of the dash, we still have 3 analog dials for turbo speed, boost pressure, and your battery. And down here, people will appreciate that we still have an analog handbrake. So anyone who likes to get their Z a little bit sideways will definitely appreciate that. Manual gearbox, can't wait to try that out, but it does come with a 9-speed automatic as well. And connectivity wise, this car is a big step forward. We have a USB-C and USB-A port down here. We've got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and safety wise, Nissan has really thrown some active safety systems at the new Z as well. We've got blind spot detection, AEB, adaptive cruise control. So in terms of interior presentation and tech, this new Z really does deliver. So there you go. That is our first detailed look at the new Nissan Z on Aussie soil. We're going to be driving it very soon, so make sure you stay tuned for our full drive review of this new affordable sports car. But until then, jump into the comments below to let us know your thoughts on the design. Has Nissan done enough? And what do you think about the pricing? Too expensive, or has Nissan got it just right? Let us know.